Hey, what's going on, everybody? Any Pride here with Milk and Cookies Total War, and we are officially announcing the Milk and Cookies Total War 3,000 subscriber tournament for YouTube. So, this is going to be a sign-up video, this is going to be a rules posting video, and this is just going to be kind of a community video to see who is actually interested in playing in this tournament. So, if you want to sign up for our 3,000 subscriber tournament, there are a couple things you're going to have to do. You have to join our Steam group, which is right here, Milk and Cookies Total War. Just search that in Steam groups, and it should be pretty easy to find. Join that. I believe the group is open. And we're going to also need you to type in the comments of this video that you are interested in playing and your Steam alias. And hopefully, the ideal thing is for you not to change it so that if we need to find you, we can find you. But not sure exactly when this is going to start yet. There is a new DLC. The Black Sea faction pack is coming out on November 20th, I believe, so in about a week. And we're probably not going to start the tournament until then, but I want to get the signups going right now. And signups will be open until this coming Monday at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, which is midnight on the West Coast if you live in the United States. And it is 8 a.m. British time Monday morning. So signups will close then, and you will not be able to sign up anymore. Now, we might extend it if we don't get the amount of people that we want. But let's go over the rules now, and we'll just see how things progress as things go on. But right now, these are the rules, and I'm going to go through them and just talk about them a little bit. So what we were thinking about doing was a 32-man tournament, but the first round will be a qualifying round, and it will not, none of those games will be uploaded to YouTube. Basically, this round is just so that more people can sign up and more people can participate in the tournament. But if you lose in that round, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to get any of your gameplay on YouTube. I can't make this tournament massive. I want it to go relatively quickly. So that 32-man round is going to be played, and then the top 16 will actually qualify for the tournament. And all of those games from there on out will be uploaded to YouTube. So it will be best of one until the semifinals, meaning until the final 4 players are in the tournament, you will be playing best of ones. If you make it to the final 4, you'll be playing in a best of 3 series, and if you make it to the grand finals, you'll be playing a best of 5 series. A lot of the rules are very similar to a lot of Rome 2 tournaments out right now. 11,700 funds, that's large funds without large armies enabled. So it's just the standard large funds for normal 20-man unit armies. And large unit size is going to be a requirement as well. So I'm going to go over the allowed default maps. All of the maps that I have right now are all default maps, so they're easy to find. There are a lot of really cool maps that aren't default, but you have to find the coordinates, and that's kind of hard to set up. So I didn't really want to deal with that. So what we're going to be doing here is Araminium, Armavir, Bam Citadel, Pyramids, Eblana, Gadira, Stonehenge, Petrodava, Pella, Statue of Zeus at Olympia, Rugion, Migdol, and Mons Regis are going to be the default maps. All of these are balanced for the most part. I believe the only one that has kind of unfair deployments is Stonehenge, but that's only in north-south deployment. So if for whatever reason you guys end up hosting one of these maps and playing it in the tournament, and the deployments are kind of screwy and one person has a significant advantage over another, then I want you to switch the deployment zones from north-south to east to west just to make it more fair. Now, I haven't actually described how you guys are going to make it into the tournament. I probably should have done that to begin with. But anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to have as many people as they want, have them sign up. So say 150 people sign up for the tournament. We're going to write down all of those names and throw it into a hat, and the first 32 names I draw are going to make it into the qualifying round of the tournament. I'm sorry, there's really no other way, no other fair way for me to do it. I could pick a bunch of my friends and let them play in it, but that's not really fair to the rest of my subscribers that I don't maybe keep in touch with as much. So we're definitely not going to be doing anything like that. We're going to be doing the first 32 names I draw from a hat are going to be in the tournament. And to start out with, if I say I draw your name first, and then I draw someone else's name second, those two players are going to be playing each other in the qualifying round. Now, if we look at the bracket and see that it's really unfair and a lot of the tournament players are on one side of the bracket and a lot of less experienced Total War players are on the other side of the bracket, we will probably do some manipulation ourselves to make the bracket a little bit more fair. But for the moment, we're going to be doing, if I draw your name first and draw your name second, that's the first matchup. If I draw your name third and then draw someone else's name fourth, then those two players are going to be playing in another match. So that's how we're going to do it to begin with, and then again, if it's in an unfair bracket, we'll switch it up. So continuing on with the rules here, one rule that I definitely think is pretty important is you cannot play the same faction twice until the finals. One thing I don't want to see in this tournament is just seeing Rome like every game. Again, I'm going to be uploading these games, so I want as much variety and interesting tactics as possible. So if you play Rome, say, in the round of 16, you cannot play them again unless you make it to the finals, and then you can play Rome one more time in the grand finals, basically. But yeah, you can only use a faction you've already used once in the final best of 5 series. Faction picking. This is the rule that I'm probably most proud of. I didn't completely make it up. I had seen a spin on this in another tournament, or someone else had an idea about it, but I think this is going to make it pretty interesting. So let's just say we're going to name two players, player Y and player X. Whoever gets picked first in the name drawing from the hat is going to be player Y, and they'll be higher on the bracket in the matchup as well. So they will get to choose the map and pick two factions they would like to play. And then player X, who's the other person, will get to choose which of those factions player Y will play with. So say player Y wants to play either RDA or Rome. Player X gets to decide which of those factions player Y gets to actually play. I hope that's not too confusing. I think it's relatively simple. So say I was playing someone named Achilles. It's Achilles and Indie Pride. Achilles picks Rome and RDA, and then I tell him, hey, you're playing RDA. That's what you have to play for this tournament matchup. But basically that's how it works. And then it switches. So in that same game, player X will pick two factions he wants to play, let's say Lusitani and Bowie, and then player Y will tell him which of those factions he actually gets to use. And basically the whole idea behind this is that it's going to prevent hardcore counter picking and faction switching. So in a lot of tournaments I've played before, someone will pick Parthia to counter Rome, and then the Rome player's like, oh, I don't want to be Rome anymore because you picked Parthia, and they pick Lusitani, and then the other player's like, oh, you're Lusitani now, I want to be Bowie, and it's just stupid. So this is going to prevent that, hopefully, and I think that's a pretty good rule for this tournament. Both players are going to be designated attackers, meaning at all times both players should be attempting to outmaneuver their opponent and get into threatening positions, or just moving up forward to attempt to skirmish or engage in melee with your opponent. You're going to have to be doing something proactively at all times. If there's a hill behind your deployment zone, you can't just straight up run to the back of the map and camp there. Certainly there's no red line camping. None of that's going to be allowed. And here are the game rules for each of these. So there's going to be no artillery, max 1 elephant per player, max 1 chariots per player, and you cannot bring Ellies and chariots in your army at the same time. Max 6 same unit. Max 8 cavalry, horse archers excluded. So yeah, the horse archers are not going to be included in that max 8 cavalry. And max 3 horse archers for any faction, except for the nomads, who are going to have a max 6 horse archer limit. So I actually am allowing the nomads to be used in this tournament. That means you're going to use the Roxolani, the Masagatai, or the Royal Scythians. And the nomads have a higher cap on the horse archers, of course, because they're a bigger part of the faction. They have less tools to work with, so if I limited their horse archers to only 3, they would be pretty useless and not win very many games. Again, I'm not expecting to see too much of the nomads anyway, because they are very limited and very easily counterpicked, but I'm going to allow them just because I don't think they're that strong on this patch, and it would be cool to see a couple people play with them. One thing I did forget to mention about the maps, I highly encourage using different weather effects and times of year to keep things fresh. I'm assuming that some of these maps here are going to be picked more than others, and so if you can kind of keep the variety going by changing the weather effects, that would be super nice. I don't want to see it Mons Regis in summer every time. If you could add snow effects to it occasionally, or just change it up, that would be nice. Again, not really a rule, just a personal preference. Max 6 Pikeman. No red line abuse, meaning you cannot run to the red line and prevent your opponent from flanking you through use of the red line. And camping there. You just simply cannot camp on the red line. And as I said before, nomads are going to be allowed for this tournament. Another rule is if you have only cavalry left on the field, you must attack your opponent in melee combat with them. You're obviously not allowed to just run around the map until a draw occurs. So if you have only cavalry, you have to be proactive with them and engage your opponent with them. Even if they're boxed up with pikes, you literally have to do something proactive, because when you have cavalry, you get to dictate the pace of where and when engagements occur. So even if your opponent is straight up boxing up with pikes, you can do stuff like bait them into like leaving their pike box or whatever, but you're going to have to actually engage in melee. You can't just run around until a draw occurs. And with all that said, the biggest, most important rule of all, and I'm just going to read it verbatim here: do not be a douche, dick, rude, or mean person. We are not playing for the MLG Championships and $10 million here. There is no reward other than seeing your gameplay on YouTube and making your EP-ness a little bit bigger if you win this tournament. There is no reward. I'm going to say, fantastic job, good work winning the tournament, and your name will probably become maybe a little bit more popular. You might become a little bit more known, especially if you've never ever had your gameplay on YouTube before. A couple people might recognize you or whatever, but I'm not even that big me and Madness are not that big of YouTube personalities. We only have 3,000 subs. At the end of the day, that's not that much. So don't be a dick. Do not take this super seriously. If you're a competitive guy, that's cool. I'm competitive. I completely understand that. Just don't play like a dickhead in games. Don't talk crap to each other. Don't be a douche. Rules speak for themselves here. So those are the rules. I am open to changing a few things here and there if you guys all tell me something that one of these rules is dumb. But I really do think that these are pretty solid tournament rules. It's an interesting tournament. It's not the same rules as every other tournament you've ever seen before. There are some unique twists in it. So I was pretty happy with it. I want to know what you guys think as well. And again, if you want to participate in the tournament, let us know in the comment section of the video and join the Steam group as well. Not going to announce when the tournament will officially begin yet, but one more time we'll say the 32 players will not be on YouTube. It's only when you make it to the round of 16 that those games will be uploaded. So I feel like that's the most fair way to do things, randomly drawing names from a hat. It'll give everyone the same equal chance of getting to play in the tournament. And of course, if 32 people don't sign up, then we'll just go straight to the round of 16 and I'll just draw 16 names. But I think that, I'm assuming that 32 people are going to sign up for this tournament. So we'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys are excited for this tournament like I am. And I'll talk to you all later. Indie Pride, signing out.